Hey Pisces, how you doing, friend? Welcome to Soulvine. This is Jamie. Let's check in for your energies, Pisces. Sun, Moon, Rising will be the most dominant here, but it can be for any Pisces placement. Let's see what is going on and how we can best support your journey. And get you some guidance today. If you are new here, welcome. And for all our friends that are here on the regular, howdy, g'day. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into it, Pisces. Current energies. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. We've got Temperance showing up here. Let's see what's crossing this energy. Strength. I feel like you're holding on to something right now, but we'll get into it shortly. What's influencing this? We do have the Eight of Wands. Your past, impact presently. Thank you. I need to get my new microphone, so I apologize if the sound is a bit different. Got the Ace of Swords, okay, and in the headspace, we've got the Page of Swords. Yeah, I'm feeling this energy as it's coming through, Pisces. What's going on here? Okay, near future, Seven of Wands. Your power in this situation is the Knight of Pentacles. What's going on around you? We've got the Eight of Pentacles. It's in the headspace here. Sorry, hopes and fears. I was looking at the headspace and I got this one quite strongly. Okay, Queen of Cups and Justice. So your energy here, Pisces, and something balancing out. We'll get into it. And potential outcome. That's that way. We'll leave it there. And then I'll do some messages at the end with these divine doors. Okay. Now, I just want to say, if you are someone going, you know, through midlife, going through interesting situations, sometimes want a bit of a laugh and some, you know, even not guidance perhaps, but just some understanding around certain situations. I do have some writings that I'm doing if you want to check it out. It's in the link below. There's no cost to join. You can just check it out. And I also still put some astrology and things like that in there, but I'm doing it more from a midlife perspective, okay? And just, you know, touching in on things that we may discuss, you know, through the circle, or sometimes when I watch certain programs that I'm like, oh, it sounds like a bit of our life right now. So I'm just sharing. Anyway, if you want to check it out. But I guess it's kind of like these readings without the tools, you know, without the tarot. So Pisces, friend, Temperance energy. There is something here. This has been showing up a fair bit too in your readings this week about, I feel, timing and a bit of a waiting game, but it seems to be more so around being at peace with yourself that I feel like you're trying to navigate right now. Because even, it's interesting, the energy comes across like, even though you are spiritual, even though you're doing wonderful things for self, there is still this element underneath that feels a bit raw and feels a bit beaten up, you know, internally. And as you're navigating that, I feel like you're holding strong and you're finding courage to do what you need to do. But I think there's also that patience and that bravery needed to trust really in yourself right now, that you could be battling with. Maybe there's things that you want to express, things you want to say, things you want to make happen and take control of and handle. But there's also this part that I think, you know, in certain circumstances or other people involved, it doesn't always, you can't move the pieces sometimes the way you want, but you can influence them, okay? But and I just feel that's kind of what seems to be going on right now as you're navigating it. But influencing this is either some communication or something to move something forward here. So if there is a decision or like being in some form of waiting game or just process for yourself in where you're going right now, I feel like something is going to shift that. But as I said, I'm getting a sense here that something hasn't been or isn't going the direction that you want. Maybe you've been waiting for some form of communication. But I feel like this is what you're going to start seeing, because a big part here too, I think, has always been about getting to the truth of the situation or gaining clarity where you're going. And perhaps you've already had the clarity, and that's the issue. And it's just time now to focus on the new. But maybe you feel you can't do that until, you know, something's wrapped up, tied up here right now. Yeah, there seems, I'm getting a little sense of like controlling energy, wanting to navigate something. And it's not controlling as in something is wrong, that it's an unhealthy control. It just seems like you want just shit to happen or things to go a certain way, and you just, the frustrating part of dealing with people or situations that don't have their stuff together or are trying to make it difficult for you. It's just like you kind of had enough. And I think you just want to get going and get moving on. And this seems to be a little bit of a theme this week, because in the headspace you do have the Page of Swords, which is a lot about what are you seeing and identifying right now, okay? Because there's something that you can see, perhaps a light at the end of the tunnel. I think there's something here that you acknowledge and want to kind of go towards here, or connect to or learn a bit more about. That's on your mind, but maybe you're trying to look at, well, how do I go about it? How do I go about it? Which way do I tackle it? And it's kind of, that's what seems to be going on in the headspace right now. And maybe you're trying to connect some pieces, connect some dots as well, as you're looking at things. Because in terms of the near future, there is something that you really believe in and you really stand for here with this Seven of Wands energy, you know, and you know who you are. You know what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept anymore, you know, and that changes with growth, with wisdom, with hurt, with new understanding around things. And there's this energy about you taking care of you and putting, I feel like you're putting a pretty strong guard around you energetically right now, and it's hard to penetrate, but I still think you're wavering between, no, I know who I am and I know what I stand for, but there's this soft gooey part of you, right? There's this emotional soft gooey part of you, and that's, I think, sometimes what you may battle in terms of the patience, because it's like, I've been patient enough, I've stood here long enough, I don't want to be dealing with all this other crap right now, I want to move past it. Why can't all these other situations, people, things also move past it too? You're in a better place, in a better way. Even though there still might be the internal challenge, I think it's just like, come on. But I'm also acknowledging here too, Pisces, that you are protected, but you may be feeling a little challenge to that as well. Okay. Your power, Knight of Pentacles. It's kind of like the slow and steady wins the race, you know. Again, fortified in the steps that you take, knowing your truth, knowing where you're going, being the stable, solid one. I feel you're just going to be taken care of, Pisces. And if you're waiting for some opportunity or some closure or something here, and closure doesn't necessarily mean from another person. This is something just where the page turns and you can go, I'm good with that. I do have something that I have written about, talking about the art of forgiveness, so to speak, and what you shouldn't do and what you should do in best interest of yourself when it comes to a challenging situation. So again, there is a link below if you want to check out that reading. But in terms of this Knight of Pentacles, yeah, I feel slow and steady, stay in strength, stay in truth, because that's what's going to get you through, okay? In terms of the Eight of Pentacles, something's going to get your attention, get you busy, or get you, you know, fired up again. We do have Mercury in Pisces, well, in retrograde right now. What I'm sensing as well is something to do with perhaps what you want to learn, what you want to acknowledge here in expressing yourself or learning more to expand yourself. Because, you know, I think there's that part of, I know who I am and I know what I want to do. And it's kind of like, you don't want to hold back those parts of you anymore. And maybe you've got this new fire, a little bit of fire that's been lit. So I think there's something that's getting your attention or allowing you to create in new ways here, Pisces, that you've kind of had a little bit quiet for some time. But it could also be too that work's getting a lot of your attention, okay? But you know, on the other side, there's reward there or benefit there for yourself. Now, if you've been waiting for an offer from work, I feel you're going to be witnessed and acknowledged as well, you know, with some opportunity or some offer or that thing that you've been wanting to do. I feel like it's going to show up, or there's definitely going to be a conversation about that showing up here. Because what you also do have in your hopes and fears is this Queen of Cups and the Justice energy. I think there's something here about, again, that what you're seeing and what you're sensing and how you're feeling, that will pay off and allow things to come through in a peaceful way. And I think there's also some question here, if you do extend yourself in a certain, you know, in your way, that in how you are, that if you extend that part of you, that Piscean part of you, right? Because we're made up of all different things in our chart, but obviously you being here, there's some dominance or some recognition here of a Piscean energy within you or around you. And I think there's this element of, if I show up in that version of myself, is what gonna make things okay? But it's also, I feel, by maintaining this energy, the question also is this going to pay off? Is this goodness that in the way that I've shown up going to pay off? And I do feel like things will balance out, but let's have a look here at what this potential outcome is. Okay, we've got the Three of Swords. Interesting energy to show up here. So this could be some, I'm going to say potential some legal matter or some disappointment that's coming on through. Maybe for some of you, you're separated from someone at the moment. Maybe you're putting a lot of time, effort, energy into work, or maybe that communication that you've been seeking or wanting from someone, you're trying to maintain your balance, your calm, your cool around it. Because I feel like if that's the case, someone here may have not done what you feel is the right thing. Maybe they feel they've done the right thing. Maybe you feel that you've done the right thing. But somewhere in between, there's this rock in a hard place, and it doesn't matter which way, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if there was a rock inside a cup that had a lid and it just has this tiny hole, there's either parts where you can keep doing it where the rock has to kind of chip away a little bit, or there's a potential that the shape of it, you have to get it exact for it to come out, if you know what I mean, if you've seen those things before. But what I'm sensing is here that whichever way you kind of go about it, there's no real 100% positive outcome, right? And I think here that whatever that is or whatever the dealings is, there is some hurt and some disappointment about what's happened or what's occurred, or in terms of maybe that's why you're putting your time and energy into other things, not to escape, but to not have to be stuck in an energy of feeling let down or feeling disappointed. Let's have a look a little bit more what this Three of Swords is about and where this is all going, and then I'll get some divine guidance with those doors energy. Three of Swords, what else do we need to know here for our Pisces? Thank you, Spirit. Yeah, I'm feeling like a little bit of stress in the chest right now. What else do we need to know here? Three of Swords. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, you've got the Hierophant. So you could either be dealing with a Tyrian or a relationship, partnership, or some organization right now. What else do we need to know? Some form of structure or the way someone, yeah. So for some of you, I think there is this element of going on your own or wanting to make a decision to go on your own. Maybe there has been a part where you've been in a relationship or a connection that is dissolving or has dissolved, and you know, whatever you're reflecting, there seems to be some shards that are left around this situation or dynamic. For some of you, maybe it could be a child figure. For some of you, it could be, you know, you're trying to be patient to see where something is going right now, and hoping that whichever way that you show up, that you can still gain some peace and balance in this, or that, you know, justice will come through. but I feel like you may feel like you're a little bit in a way of not losing, but that battle or that way that you're trying to do the right thing, it's just like, you got to be fucking kidding me, you know? Like, I keep showing up, I keep doing the right thing. Why do I have these challenges and pressures? Like, and you just want to breathe in it to go away. That's what this is feeling like. Let's get a little bit more of the Hierophant energy. What do we need to know? Four of Cups, yeah. It's like someone doesn't want to play to the party, or someone is like kind of like that silent treatment or blocking you out. Or I think for some of you, you've actually dodged a bullet, to be honest. But let's have a look here for this Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. For some of you, you know, I can tell this wasn't your choice for the way this thing unfolded or happened. But you've also accepted where the situation is and had to deal and manage this situation as needed with this energy. I'm going to just move these cards over a tad because I know you can't see them too great. Is that better? Yeah, okay. What else do we need to know about this Judgment energy? Six of Wands, yeah. Yeah, for some reason, you know, it also seems, Pisces, and then we've got the Ace of Cups underneath. I like that. What also it feels like here, Pisces, as we're moving into this, you know, potential outcome. Just remember, you know, this is a general read. Not everything's going to resonate, and there's free will. Energy can change quite suddenly, as we know. But it just seems like there is some freedom and some resolution here of being on your own. I think what you were once committed to or once cared about, you don't actually give two shits anymore. It's the fact that, not that you don't care maybe 100%, but I think there's a part of like, you don't give energy to it, but it's like you're being forced right now to have to give energy to it, or it just keeps popping up, and it's like your spirit wants to relinquish the thoughts, the feelings around it, because I think you're trying to block something out, or block them out, or block this situation out, because you know who you are, and you don't want to be dealing with crap and BS anymore, you know. So I can see there's a strong focus on self, but there's also this part of trying to, I feel for some of you, put your energy into another area of your life where you feel that when you create, when you do, and put the time and effort into that. So maybe it's study, maybe you've got some hobbies that you're doing, whatever it might be. Maybe there's some creative work that you're doing. I think you know that the more that you get into that and experience that, you'll feel more at peace with yourself. But yeah, I think you're just disappointed in the way someone's handling it. And even though, like I said, you're a bit disconnected from it, because I think when someone constantly chips at you or chips at a situation, like eventually you just get so used to it that it can't penetrate anymore. But there's still that frustration when you can't control it or deal with it because it's another person or another situation that you have no control over other than yourself. But I'm sensing here, you will get onto the other side of some freedom. If an opportunity is coming in that you've been waiting for or wanting to hear or wanting to understand, there's something solid that will come. But your strength is also taking the time to slowly be in a solid place. And I'll say slowly, that speed is going to be different for everyone. But what I feel is whatever step that you're taking each step with solidity and trust and comfort in who you are. Like, you're doing it on purpose, and that's what I like about this. Whatever you're going towards, you're doing it on purpose, and keep remembering that. And it's okay to protect what's yours, protect who you are. And you know, you don't have to say or do anything if you don't want to. But I want you to, and I'll say but as a caveat, if you want a certain outcome, make sure your actions or your engagement supports that. Right? So what I mean is, if you are dealing with someone who's difficult and sometimes you want to fire back and say the truth and, you know, express something in a certain way, how will that get you closer to where you want to go? You know, love yourself more than hating a situation or getting down a situation. Like, give yourself the love, because that's going to keep helping you go, okay, I'm taking care of me first, instead of it doesn't, I know this is hard, but it doesn't matter a lot of the time what other people think, okay? It doesn't matter. You know the truth, and I know sometimes we want the world to know what people have done, you know, that they're not doing the right thing, or you know how hard you've worked, whatever it is. Of course we sometimes want that acknowledgement, like, I am a good person, I have done the right thing, why aren't these things showing up, you know, why can't they see the goodness? And I get it, but there's something here about the self-focus that's critically important here, because you are going to succeed and come out on top. If there is a point in time of the frustration, the heaviness, the timing, the patience, Spirit's asking you, I know it's a challenge right now. There's a trust in the process, that some things have to be figured out first. This new beginning that you're seeking is still coming. Okay, but maybe there's a little bit more information that needs to show up or needs to come through first to support this next part. So someone will see it. It will be identified, okay? Because there is something solid coming. I can see that. And I feel like, you know, you on your own, you doing your thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be in partnership if you are in partnership. It just means that whatever the outcome is, you are going to benefit, okay? And the more that you take care of yourself, because this is a lot about self-care, and make those choices and evaluate those parts of you, that's where you get on top, Pisces. Let's get you a couple of Divine Door energy cards. Let's see what else you need to know to take away with you right now. What do you need to know to take away with you right now? What does Pisces need to know to take away with them right now? Thank you, Spirit. So let's see the door that you've got. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Change beacons. The path is shifting. The road leads a new way. Do not be alarmed as change beacons today. Wow. So there is going to be some communication here, I feel. Again, there's something here about don't be rushed to respond. I just keep hearing that. Is there anything else that we need to know here? Thank you, Spirit. Oh, that's pretty. A moment's joy. Sand through the hourglass, yet time could stand still. A moment lasts forever, and the bliss of the heart's will. And I think this is where the bliss of the heart kind of sits here, Pisces, with this Nine of Pentacles energy. Even though there's disappointment, hurt, loss, it's in some way or another. And again, for some of you, I think you are going through some form of legalities or wanting some truth to prevail and trust to prevail and justice to prevail. I feel it will. You've got this. I know you've got this. I'll leave it there, dear friend. Bye now.